Last week I had a really good friend of mine reach out and ask me a professional question. And when I say a good friend, I have known this person since we were, I think, 6 years old. And it was really fun. See, she has spent the last several years staying home raising her kids. And she's ready to re-enter the workforce. And she was saying, okay, so what things are important for me to include on my resume, and should I get some different certificates? They were really great questions. And the heart of this issue is something, when she asked me it, I thought, it's amazing how many times I get asked very similar questions to this. And basically the overall theme is, how do I make a successful transition back into the work world if I've been out of it for a while for any reason? It made me think about why we worry about these things. I mean, obviously, clearly, we want to make sure that our skills are up to date, that we haven't missed anything from, a professional development standpoint. But I think at the heart of it often is a little bit within all of us, me included, because I've had this happen to me myself, is a little bit of fear. And that fear is, am I still relevant? Did I miss anything when I was gone? Will I be asked questions about the absence that maybe I don't answer confidently? And maybe I don't feel all that confident because of the time lapse in between. Sometimes you also wonder, what will my colleagues and my coworkers think about me? Will they judge me because of the time that I took off for whatever reason, whether I took it off to raise a family, I took it off to travel the world. One of our great guests from our podcast, Matt Javit, that I had several years ago, in fact, I need to bring him back on. He and his wife just put their careers on hold for 3 years in the height of their sales careers to travel the world. But when you come back, you still have to answer those questions like, why? What were you doing? And if there's been a layoff or a termination, sometimes the angst in that can be even greater. So I was thinking about, how do we combat this? So the real way that I always suggest that people combat this fear or discomfort is to prepare. And what I mean by that is prepare yourself in a number of ways. Number one, no matter what point in time it is, whether or not you aren't in a gap in between your career moves or you are, start learning right now. You've heard me say this, immerse yourself in as much training as you can. So saying things like, well, in order to get myself, workplace ready again, I not only took these 3 courses to enhance my skill set, but I also started listening to this incredible podcast. And, they focus on whatever it has to do with your expertise. And I've learned from like 30 experts in this field. It's really motivated me and also given me new ideas. You might say, hey, well, while I had this gap time, I also read these 3 books that were completely instrumental in me being excited about how to transition back into this job and really take my skill set and take it to a new level. What I'm looking for in this, whenever I've talked to anybody who's had a gap in their career, is I want to know that you're working on yourself. I understand that people get laid off. I understand that people get fired. I understand that people take time to raise their kids, take care of an elderly parent, to take care of, themselves. All these things are a part of life. But the way we can react to it has to do with our confidence that we can still prevail and that we are still worthy. And the best way to do that is to continually educate and train yourself. Heck, that's really part of the reason for this app, is we wanted to give you guys so many different elements about how you can enhance your skill set so that you're always constantly learning and developing. Funny thing is, I have another good friend who listens to the podcast all the time, every day. And I love getting the commentary from him because sometimes he's like, that guest was amazing. They really give me things to think about. And then he'd say, that guest, that really wasn't all that great. And it happens. Some are good, some are not. But I always ask him, with that guest that wasn't great, did you learn at least one thing? And he always can say, yes, I learned XYZ. Then that's the real challenge that we should all be going for. Everything that we encounter is a lesson and an opportunity. The question is, can we turn it into something that builds our confidence? Now, here's my final piece of advice. If you are in this situation where you're trying to re-enter the job market for any reason, take time to reflect on it. Give yourself a break. Actually, pat yourself on the back. Make a list of the things that you have done that continue to prove how you will develop in any position with any company. Take some time to write a list of what you know will help you to the next level. But before you start interviewing, work on your confidence. that deep breathing. Yoga Dog always tells us those deep breaths that we take allow our headspace to clear enough to think about, what will I be asked? What will be important to this potential person to hire me? And how can I make sure that I am always operating from a position of confidence in myself? And that way, I'm not trying to defend the reason that I had a gap in my employment. I'm just trying to have a dialogue based on my merit. And if we can help get ourselves in that right headspace, we will always come out ahead. So today, what are you going to learn? Let's do something new for yourself. Have a great day.